A wonderful good morning, dear LinkedIn community. So this is Ilkay Özkisolo, and I'm going live with Björn Henkel from the Winkler AG, which is a company that has a lot of shares. It's a small and medium-sized enterprise. Welcome, Björn, to my show.
Yes, thank you. A marvelous good morning, and I hope you enjoyed your coffee this morning. I'm looking forward to that hour of talking about LinkedIn and our journey with LinkedIn so far.
So
And
everyone
welcome to
who
the
is
community game.
Yes, everyone who is wondering about this coffee mug here, I love Bayreuth. So this is the city where I am from. So maybe you have wondered all the time, where is Ilkay from? Because some people think I'm in Austria, some people think I'm from in Turkey, and some people know that I'm in the northern part of Bavaria. And Bayreuth is a very nice city, close to the former Eastern German republics and very close to the Czech border. So I'm in that triangle, and Björn is about 300 kilometers western of my hemisphere. We have about a 3 hours driving distance to each other, but it's close enough to visit each other sometimes and have a good time. This LinkedIn Live will be actually not about their solutions in flexible heating, but it will be about their experiences they have conducted and gathered during the past 2 years since we have designed a LinkedIn campaign for them. And I'm very, very happy to have Björn here in the show to talk about his experiences and share those actually with you. And because this is a LinkedIn Live, as most of you will know, a LinkedIn Live is a very interactive session. So you find below our picture, there is a comment section or a chat section, if you will. And we would like to invite you to ask your questions, send us your comments. And as a starter, please write down from where are you tuning in today, because we want to measure the reach in terms of the territory. And I hope that we will be covering the world today together with Björn, from the United States over Europe to the Middle East, India, until down under, because I know right now in down under it's premium, the prime time of the media, and everyone's probably have already done their dinner and watching now LinkedIn Live. So write down from where are you tuning in, and also please give us a small short feedback. Can you hear us right? Can you see us right? Because I've changed some of my equipment. I'm talking right now to this lavalier mic instead of this big USB mic, which was already always in my front. And I hope that one still works fine. If not, I need to switch back. So just give us a short feedback. Björn says he can listen fine to it, but Björn is together with me in the studio, so in the virtual studio. So of course he can hear me, but the most important part is, can you guys hear us? So Björn, yeah, maybe for everyone who has not seen you so far, yeah, you are now quite active on LinkedIn, mostly through the Winkler LinkedIn page. You have a corporate site as Winkler, that is your employer. Give us a short introduction of what Winkler is about, so that our community knows, okay, this is a small and medium-sized enterprise, so that they can compare themselves. Are we more or less in the same league? What type of solutions do you provide, and what is your role, so that they can relate better to you?
Yes, thank you, Ilkay. I will do that within a couple of minutes, short minutes, 2-3 minutes. Winkler is about flexible electrical heating. What does that mean? We're concentrating on main 3 areas, which is transport of media via heated hoses. You can see one in the background, like you have an extract or something which you bring in, you transport it via a certain distance. In our case, we do that from about 30 centimeters to more than 100 meters. And it can be from gas, liquids, any kind of fluids, which need to be and need to stay in a certain temperature range. We also have the flexible textile heating solutions, or heating jackets called. I have one solution for the ATEX EX explosion market behind me, but we do that also for industrial processes. So wherever you have a valve, a pipe, anything, a drum heater, so a drum from 10 liters up to 1,000 liters or even more, this is where we concentrate. Those who ask the question now, okay, in which kind of industries do you need that? I can answer in most of all industries you can imagine. We can start from the food and beverage industry. One of my favorites, I love chocolate. Chocolate needs to be transported and needs to stay in a certain temperature range. Otherwise, it will be grayish or cannot be transported when it comes to the filling point. We are also active in the engine test benches for automotive industry. We are also for process gases. So yes, name me a industry and I might be able, most likely I will be able to tell you where our products can fit in. I think that's for now.
Yeah, wonderful introduction. Thank you, Björn. So that our community basically can now see, okay, LinkedIn is open for all kinds of technical solutions. Of course, I find it very, very important to have all technical manufacturing. So you are from the manufacturing industry, and anyone who wants to know more about Winkler, you're welcome to listen to the podcast or watch our LinkedIn Live events on Winkler AG. But now I will become first personal with Björn. Björn, when did your LinkedIn, let me call it career start? Anyone like me who started with LinkedIn probably was lurking around, watching what's going on LinkedIn first. But when did you start with LinkedIn, being a quiet participant and consumer? And when did you start to be more active on LinkedIn?
Yeah, thank you, Ilkay. Actually, the journey began with LinkedIn in 2014, my journey. And you mentioned quite rightly, I was a quiet LinkedIn member. Reason being, I was traveling a lot. I was a lot in project business in the oil and gas industry. And up to that point, I had that greenish social media, which we are not talking about today. But in Southeast Asia, people were talking about LinkedIn. Can we network? Can we, connect? And I thought, oh, it might be another social media channel. I scrolled into it and I realized, oh no, it's a very interesting network where most of my business partners were there and were present. I used it for networking. I used it for staying in contact, for saying congratulations, happy birthday. That was, I think, for the most years, about 6 years, 5-6 years, that was my main thing to do. Network, stay in contact, keep in touch, say hello, but that's it. I realized that the information is very interesting, especially when you're talking about business to business. I'm not so much interested in cats and in Photoshop pictures, which are quite nice, but then I can go into the yellow press and see them. In business, I'm very interested in applications, new stuff, new solutions, and especially about the careers. When you meet someone in the Middle East in 2014 and see how he comes from being a junior project manager to a senior to a vice president, that's an interesting story, and that's also interesting to stay in contact. You'll never know when you meet again. Up to the point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Up to the point when I started in Winkler, obviously I did share information. I did like information, but not as much as when I started in Winkler, where the first comment was, "We don't do that." When I started in Winkler and asked about LinkedIn, that was in 2019. And I think what changed in between, that will be the interesting part we are talking about today.
Absolutely. So you gave me a lot of cues here. So the first one is because we're streaming internationally here on so many platforms like in parallel YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. For those who don't know what the greenish app is, social media app, we can tell it right now here because they are not anymore a social media platform, but a recruiting platform. Here in Germany, in the German-speaking countries, we have Xing, which used to be a open business club in the past, but now is more a job and recruiting portal. And many people still confuse LinkedIn also with a job and recruiting portal, which in the beginning, when Reto Hofmann back in May 2003 opened LinkedIn, was certainly a job and recruiting portal, but today it's much and way more than just a job and recruiting portal. So they have departed ways. Whereas Xing is more a job and a recruiting portal in its purer form, LinkedIn is becoming more of a business hub. And this is what actually intrigued you and attracted you, Björn, as far as I can judge it from what you have said, that you will become now someone who's sharing knowledge in order to network with like-minded people, and from there find your position in the network, and of course get some maybe new customers and new orders into it. So my question to the community is, do you view also LinkedIn as a network marketing, PR, and sales platform, or are you still in the mood of using LinkedIn as a job and recruiting portal? I would be really interested in your views. Please write them down in the chat so we can see what you think about. I'm also following the chat right now, and we will come back with Björn to all of your nice comments later on. Just in the meantime, use it in order to tell us how do you utilize LinkedIn here. So the other cue you were saying is you were monitoring from the junior position to a more senior position other people, and that is an interesting statement which I rarely hear. What is it that this attracts you? Are you happy with those people, or are you following them because they get more decision power? What's the reason that you like it to follow people's careers on LinkedIn?
That's a good question. Thank you, Ilkay. I think I have to answer that in a wider range. I would call them, and excuse it, I would call some of them friends. I mean, not excuse, but some of them are friends in the meantime when you carry on and when you hear what happens, what their personal situations are. That is also interesting in terms for me on the development, the path they are going, the career they're doing. That is more on the, let's say, social side of it. When I see, okay, we've met 10 years ago in that or that project, and he obviously made his career. The other thing is, yes, you quite rightly said, it's decision power. It's also movements maybe from one to the other company. I changed my industry more or less 3 times, and I can see people moving around also in different industries, which might be in a different context, but again, interesting for doing business. And you have the experience how to work with each other, what is their needs, what is their interests, and this is what attracts me here. The other thing is, I mean, I like to see people coming forth, developing themselves, like I do try to develop myself, and that is what attracts me. So decision power, own development, and some socializing, social things to say, hey, happy birthday, how are your family, how are your kids? But that could be done via all the other social platforms, but it's more or less in one platform combined. I wouldn't post that. So if you check my posts, my comments, you hardly see me posting happy birthday in a post. I do that in a private chat. But that's also the way I try to stay in contact with people, not only being interested in business, the next order or the next WebEx, Zoom, Teams, I could name them all, but it's also more to say, hey, I still think about you, of you, sorry, and yeah, let's talk, let's chat, and some interesting chats come up in, oh, you're in flexible heating now. That's the point then where I start to say, yeah, of course we are. Do you like us to have a video call? Shall we present the company? So short question, long answer. It's a combination of everything. Own development, business development, decision power, and just be in contact, getting to know other people, other interests, other products, and new businesses.
You have touched on such an important point with the in-mails, other would call it DMs, yeah, sliding in the
Yes.
DMs. So you said you would not congratulate someone officially on LinkedIn, but you would rather go on the private side, on the in-mail side on LinkedIn. And this is something which I observe is totally underrated by the people, to get in touch with the people. And what I would recommend is always try also to start a side conversation, not only in the feed, but also in the in-mails. Because as you know, LinkedIn has an algorithm, and the algorithm, or several algorithms, it's actually a neural network. And what it does, it actually reads also your in-mails. So don't post your text text declaration in the in-mails, but if you start chatting with other community members, that of course is a positive sign for the algorithms. It shows reciprocity. It shows that there is a relationship between two people. And what it does later on in consequences, it shows each other's post more frequently. So use that time. Also, the other fact is, if we say we are not working for the algorithm here, that's fine. I accept that. We are working for human relationships, to build relationships. What's the most direct and better way to build relationships directly in the in-mails? No one can hold you back to communicate with a CEO, with a purchasing agent, with a future customer in the in-mails. Just do it in the right way and skillfully and professionally, please.
Yes.
And then you have really open opportunities. How have you realized this, that these in-mails are so powerful for you? What resonance, what resonated with the people?
Yeah, there's again more than one answer. It might be my personality, which suits more to me. Obviously, I do thumbs up when there's a nice post, but I find it more personal. I find it more direct. I find it more. I do honor the person more if I write him a personal email, and even if it's just "Happy birthday, how are you doing?" It's a really direct way of respecting each other. By that, also, I realized sometimes in my career as a salesperson, project sales, international sales, I think all of those who are in sales, they know how difficult it is sometimes to reach the right person in a company. You try to, get in touch with each other, try to connect, or try to present your products. By sending a nice email, a explanation why you want to link network, what's the context, I've realized I can do 10 times a call and end up as either in the reception or at the assistance. I directly write an email, a message, and some minutes later, maybe some couple of days later, I get a yes, connection accepted. So that was my way to see, wow, I can have a faster way, a more direct way, and at the same time, a more efficient way. So yeah, that was my idea of how to network, why to use in the direct messaging, and getting into touch with each other. Obviously, one thing I want to say here too is I try to avoid mass copy emails, texts. So I try to put it more individual because that's something which annoys me when I can read directly. That is 100 times copied and just set and maybe, shoot and try to hit someone with that email. So I try to at least have a little, personal touch, a little bit where they can see, okay, he really thought about it.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you raised that point, Björn, and that you show if you do it skillfully and professionally, the dialogue, you start the dialogue in the industry, the manufacturing industry, with some cues and some maybe common anchors, then you get this human touch into the sales. And this is what sales is about. Sales is not about 100 copy and paste messages to be sent out wildly. Sales is about building up relationships first. Sales is about giving information, giving someone else the platform to network. And once that is done, then of course you can start, normally it flows natural anyway. What are you up to? What are your application problems? And that's the way you can really start the conversation. Now, let me move on to my next question then, which I'm really curious to know. Now that you have discovered all these things on LinkedIn, and you've gathered some positive, feedback and started some dialogues, I assume you have introduced this idea to your colleagues and your team members. Obviously, you have a huge team of sales people, technical and engineering people. How did they react when you approached them and told them, well, I've discovered here is a new platform called LinkedIn, and we could utilize and leverage our knowledge here on LinkedIn and open a new channel for us? How did they react?
Obviously, they embraced the idea straight away. They were all happy about it, and they were all straight away going to their profile and actualize their profile. No, it's a lie. It has been, first of all, it was LinkedIn. Some said, oh, I know, I've heard about LinkedIn. Yes, I have a profile. Oh, I'm not active. Why should I do that? Oh, another sales tool. I don't see the return on invest. I think that was most honestly answered. I was a bit of an outsider, I can say. And luckily, I had a young lady who came to me and said, Björn, I could think about starting to do some posts. I thought, wow, cool. And we started with here and then a post via the Winkler page. I would say we were not really too professional, but it was okay. One of the questions she asked me and said, I need some support. I need at least some topics which the team members should give me. And everybody agreed, so we started the process. And guess what happened? She started 5 posts on her own, and then was waiting for input, and she didn't get any input. And it then started to be really difficult and hard. I think that was also the time where our CEO, Andreas Zenner, started to adapt also the idea. And he straight away, Ilkay, I remember, contacted you, found you, and that was our first interaction. And also myself, I had a really tough and hard comment at that time from your end when you've seen my profile picture. I said, Björn is quite nice. You present yourself like a model, but it's not like LinkedIn like. I was so proud at that time because I did a personal change in my life. So I thought, wow, that's a cool picture. And you gave me straight away very honest feedback, which I thought, okay, yeah, he's right. And the whole process started. So we started to do pictures. We started to discuss about how do we professional approach LinkedIn. And when I say professional, we're not talking in Winkler having a huge marketing machine in the background. I mean, we're a small, medium-sized company, so we don't have the marketing team of 5-10 people. We do that on our own. So by pushing the team continuously, by getting a good feedback, honest feedback on how we are perceived from the outside, we started the journey. We picked up on the topics organic growth. We picked up on the topics what to post, how to post, how to comment, what to comment, and it's been a strong and I would say hard way, because we have a learning organization, and they've learned, and I think many companies experience that, a new idea of the management is like a flu. It comes 3 days, it stays 3 days, it goes 3 days, and we can carry on like it was before. And that was the point where we had to prove also as management to say, no, we seriously mean LinkedIn will be one part of our sales activities. So we're still working on that. We found internally 2-3 people who are really willing to support, to push, to post, or to send us posts. And it is a continuous, let's say, active motivation to say, look, please like the comments, please support us. What would be the next post you like to see? And coming back to the networking part, when I network, I try to make sure at least 1 or 2 posts later on are about the field of the people I network. So if I go into the semicon and try to network, I try to post, our heating jackets for at least 1 or 2 times. If I go into the food and beverage fluids, I try to post our heating hoses, which actually be able to solve a problem of the customer. So answering the question, yes, everybody embraced straight away. Everybody was really happy that they shall put another spare time to LinkedIn. But within the journey of the last, I can say 2 years, I mean, I'm quite happy with the community we gathered around Winkler and that small company, which was and still is in a niche market.
Absolutely. And we will talk about your commercial results with LinkedIn in a moment. And before we do that, first of all, let me commend you for being this and taking up this leadership. You have really discovered nice positive results with LinkedIn, and you are carrying this into your team. I know sometimes people would say, well, we don't have time for this. But the question is, what does it mean we don't have time for this, or for LinkedIn content creation, engagement, and things like that? It only means it's not a priority, because everyone has 24 hours. Steve Jobs had only 24 hours. Yeah, Bill Gates has only 24 hours. But you look, they are at LinkedIn and very active on the social media sites. So anyone can put a priority on LinkedIn and carry it out. And this is my call to action on everyone who is in the industry. Look at what Björn has achieved on LinkedIn in a moment, and then make up your mind if that is worth a prioritization in your daily work. So, Björn, shall we greet our viewers and commenters here?
Absolutely. I'm curious to see.
Curious who is joining us today. So we got Tobias. He says BT is Bluetooth. So yes, actually it's the Bayreuth. I will show it once again. My nice cup. I love Bayreuth. The reason why I'm showing this now more lately is we will have a show and a gathering coming up on the 28th of June. And the Upper Franconian, so the area in German called Oberfranken, and Bayreuth is the capital of Oberfranken, is called UFIS. It's an innovation gathering together. And I'm now warming up the community and the algorithm with that community event. That's the reason why I'm showing Bayreuth the other day. But you are right, it could be also misinterpreted as Bluetooth, but it's not this case. So Sebastian says we are in Zurich. Thank you, Sebastian. So we have a spread from Germany to Zurich, and let's see who else is there. Visual and audio is perfect. I'm sure now with the checkings we have done, Sebastian, thanks for your feedback that my lavalier mic finally is working. I had a problem last time with this lavalier mic, but it was a human error. And this is something of a learning also on LinkedIn. When you do videos and live streams, you have to check the connections. You have to check them 1 time, 2 times, better 3 times. The last time I had this error was just because the adapter from the TRS to the TRRS to the laptop was not really strong enough pushed into place. So make sure that you push it so that your adapters are also working fine. And thank you for giving us this feedback. So Jack, otherwise known as Heating Jack, is with us and says, hey, good morning. Good morning, Jack. I will have you soon in a live too, and we will do it also in English, I guess. Angela says, good morning. Good morning, Angela. And she has a smiley with it. That makes me already happy when I see that, because today also to our Muslim brothers, happy and Ramadan Kareem. Today is the first day of the month of Ramadan. And Sebastian says, today recruiting and job search is only one of 10 business units in LinkedIn. Absolutely. We got LinkedIn marketing solutions, LinkedIn sales solutions, the LinkedIn creators, LinkedIn for journalists, LinkedIn for NGOs. There's so much more now on LinkedIn these days. And I'm actually a LinkedIn learning instructor. They have a studio in Graz in Austria where they flew me in last November, and we have recorded a LinkedIn Kennenlernen, get to know LinkedIn, a course which is freely available, but it's in German language, so it will not probably be appropriate for our international guests. But that course also exists in English, but it's not from me, it's from my colleague Schildgen, I think. So if you go on my LinkedIn Learning Kennenlernen course, you will see also his English variant, and you can enjoy his one. It's a very good tip. Yes. Mainly for B2B now. Yes, as we said, LinkedIn is a great platform for B2B. It's actually the only one I know that has such a high reach, with now 900 million active members. You know, now on this planet we have 8 billion people living, and soon we will have 1 billion people. Of these 8 will be on LinkedIn in a B2B context. So that is really a game changer for many, many companies. And you got all the decision makers on LinkedIn. So 99% for B2B communication. Absolutely cool, Alexander. Alexander, from where are you tuning in? Please write that down. And then we got Marcus here. It's an information platform for networking, and you can present your company. Absolutely. Presenting the company is the minimum you can do. You can do marketing, PR, and even, like Björn says, sales. You can reach candidates for the company who would otherwise not know the company. Yes, and even with Marcus, I had a great LinkedIn Live already, where he actually showed how the recruiting, onboarding, and talent acquisition works on LinkedIn. So have a look at those LinkedIn Lives. And then we got Maria, Eva Maria. Hello from the beautiful Hohenloher-Land, using LinkedIn outside while jogging. Great interview. Oh, thank you, Maria. I hope you will be soon fit with our LinkedIn Lives. I will be going live tomorrow again in English if you like, and want to be part of it. Is she Eva Maria Henkel?
Yes,
Sounds
yes, she is.
Is she? Okay. Very
Yes,
good.
she's my
Thanks.
wife,
She's
and she
your wife.
promised me
Okay.
to support me today. Thank you,
Okay.
Eva.
But what industry is she in? Can you tell us?
Yes, I can. She's working for a company selling software ERP systems, doing integrations of ERP systems.
Okay.
And
They
we
are very
very
close
often
to you.
talk about the profiles, the LinkedIn posts, and what represents the company, or how the company is represented. And maybe I can jump into. I was very happy to see Lou, because Lou is from Malaysia. Ping Yu Lu, who said it's on B2B. That's the one. And I got to know him in 2014, actually, when I was stayed and based in Malaysia. So happy to see you. Happy to read from you. Thank you. Great to see. And he's actually one of those who I mentioned to see the development over the years,
Yes.
where we follow each other and where we can see what development he did.
Yeah, and that's nice, because that what you described is becoming business partners, business friends. Now you become also some, personal friends that really tightens the relationship, and that's a wonderful thing to do. And thank you, Lou, for joining us. And you said, is he from Singapore or from where is he?
Malaysia, KL, Kuala
From
Lumpur.
Malaysia. Ah, okay. I'm sorry, Malaysia. Okay, so we are reaching to the Far East right now. That's great. That's
Yes.
great. Okay, so let me ask you now the most important thing that business people would like, of course, to know is once I put in, and you said you mentioned also return on invest. Once I put in the effort and the work and the time into LinkedIn, what can I get out of it in terms of really results? Do you have some insights, some juicy insights, maybe for our community, a manufacturing company like Winkler, who is in the SME, small and medium-sized enterprise scene, what can you get out of LinkedIn once you are putting some effort into it?
That is a very good question. And by mentioning the return on invest, that was one of the first questions I got asked by my sales team. Said, okay, Björn, tell me, when will I be able to do the first €1 million in via LinkedIn sales? And my answer was, I don't know. He looked quite confused to me and said, look, for me, LinkedIn is a platform to develop a community, to develop a brand name, to make sure that people know what is behind Winkler, or actually that Winkler exists and what they do. The next thing I pull out of LinkedIn is you see very soon what fits to the community, what the community is interested about, and how to develop yourself. So it took about, for us, half a year, 3/4 of a year, half a year, when we started to really invite people to follow our LinkedIn page, the Winkler LinkedIn page, that people were asking, oh, that's interesting. Can we have a video call? Can we have a web session? Can you present your company to us? We had within, as I said, 6 months, 8 months, maybe 10, 12, a dozen different presentations via a video call about the company. Did we get direct business out of it? The honest answer is no. Did we get reach? Did we get organic growth via it? The answer is yes. And my philosophy was straight away, if you have a competitor which has the same inquiry on the table and the purchaser has 2 quotes on the table, one is from Winkler, the other one is from a competitor, and he has seen the Winkler logo 10, 12 times already, guess who we will call, who we will ask the question, who he will contact. Because if some signature is maybe Björn Henkel under it, and he has seen our LinkedIn Live, he has seen maybe a post from me or a like, or shouldn't say that, but happy birthday, he might call me. And this is where it starts to build the return. We don't need to have insights in terms of sales prices and other stuff. No, that's not the interest. The interest is making sure you have enough touch points with the logo, enough touch points with the company, that at the same time when he gets the inquiries, the quotations on the table, that he says, oh, Winkler, yes, that's a company who is really creating content. That's a company who gives me, value on the social media side. And I can say we have created customers via LinkedIn, and we are currently in process where I can straight away derive the LinkedIn contact, LinkedIn mail messages or inside messages to a discussion about working together or have a distribution agreement. So it's not straight away. It's not return on invest. You ask the client who wants to place an order, are you coming from the web or your web page or a brochure or the LinkedIn? You won't get that information normally straight away, but you will make a difference as soon as you start organic growth, as soon as you start networking with each other, as soon as you start posting content which is valuable. I have posted also Christmas barbecues. Yes, if I would post that continuously, maybe the community would say, oh, Winkler is a barbecue company. no, Winkler is not, but Winkler is also a company who, besides the product, is a social company who tries to also be able to socialize. But you will see hardly pictures of this. Yes, our summer festival, yes, we will post that. But our main part is content creating, information which really interests the community. So yes, the answer is we have derived business out of LinkedIn. Is it return on invest? The honest answer is not yet. But I'm pretty sure over the period of time, I can see competitors starting to follow the Winkler way. And yes, luckily, Ilkay, thank you also for your effort and pushing us and giving your kicks or into our backside. We have grown the community to a nice number for a small company like we are.
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely.
And we will carry on doing it.
Absolutely. So let me summarize this up for anyone who thinks to start on LinkedIn. You have several different kinds of targets on LinkedIn. You can do marketing, you can do PR, you can do the hard selling on LinkedIn even. And of course, what you can, and this is what I recommend, follow a thought leadership routine or plan. What is a thought leadership? Thought leadership is in a niche like flexible heating with Björn's industry. You basically present content around your discipline, which is flexible heating, and helps processes, to transport media in a much more fluid and better way, and improves processes, for instance. Just one application out of many. So marketing is one thing. Marketing helps you, of course, to get the reach, to get your content in front of many, many more eyeballs in that industry. PR, on the other side, helps you with branding. Now we got Winkler here. Yeah, you see the brand is always shining up, even with a influencer generated content. So I'm functioning here as a influencer that helps this industry to become more popular. We're talking here about energy saving, for example, in our thought leadership. And the last one is sales. And the sales comes in so many different facets. The one is the hard sale with new customers, new inquiries coming in. But a new customer will seldomly order with the first offer already. So they will take time to get to know you, to get your projects, to get the way how you deal with your customers. So they need some, they need a trajectory of trust building. And this is what LinkedIn starts. It gets you in front of your customer, and then you start in your daily business building up that trust. And one day or the other, like Björn said, they will compare things with other competitors. And what they will then decide is they will go for the brand, which they know. This is where the PR comes in. So the marketing brings you in front of the eyeballs, the PR makes you a brand building, and the sale is then sooner or later coming with new accounts, new customers, but also not only new customers, you can also retain customers, your existing customers. Maybe they were, in some places unhappy with the service, with the poor quality, just about to jump up, but you can hold them back. You can get into the dialogue back. And they would then start trusting you and giving you the opportunity perhaps to, improve the thing again. And lastly, it can also regain customers. Maybe customers you've lost in the past. Maybe customers you lost the relationship with them. They will start being reminded of you, and then they will come back with new inquiries with you. So it's not always the new customer, the new sale. And like Björn says, it's the long-term game. Yeah, it's the long-term application of these things. And typically, it really pays off to put in the effort and the time into your LinkedIn content. I'm not saying it's an overnight success. We are working with Winkler now for a couple of months. Yeah, it's even over a year now. But the permanent reminder, the permanent content, the thought leadership that you're putting out there gives you an advantage. And this I can say you as a LinkedIn guru in the German speaking countries, that will give you a first mover advantage, and an advantage that turns into an asset, a digital asset that no one of your competitors will overtake in the future anymore, as long as you stay consistent. The moment you stop creating content, then of course the feed is really very strange on that. It will take you out and it will not present you anymore, and you start from the beginning. But even for those cases, we have techniques that we can apply in order to keep you in front of your customer. So that is what I wanted to say. And Björn, I have another question then for you is, now being a middle-sized company like Winkler, when I came the first time to visit your company, and that was actually, we started working together without me visiting you. Yeah, we have done everything remote. We did the coaching remote and everything. Remember, we were in a lockdown mode. Yeah, and it was only months later that it happens that we could meet each other in person. And I have seen and come to know that you actually don't have really a marketing advertising department. All you have is an engineering and a sales department. And this is interesting because I hear many times people telling me as an objection, we have our marketing department, the marketing department takes care of our LinkedIn page. What do you think about marketing taking care of a LinkedIn page? And what do you recommend people who don't have a marketing?
First of all, yes, you're right. We don't have a marketing, as I said, department. In the meantime, we also have someone who's taking care on certain areas. But what I realize in terms of marketing, and this is no offense, which I try to say, is just something. Marketing, professional marketing, sometimes for me is too professional, because they get information, they need the input, and they can make something good out of it. And I like a nice, marketing activity. I like a nice post. I like good pictures, and this is something they really do. But the company life, the culture, is only and can only be generated by different people representing the company. If you look at our profile, you can see a number of pictures showing up, and these are actually people who are actively in sales and actually representing Winkler to the outside world. And this is something we are quite proud of it, or quite happy, because they really stand up for Winkler. They show the face. They're happy to be on a brochure, happy to be on LinkedIn, and they're supporting us. I think it's important to have it organic. I think it's important to make sure people participate. So the posting is done, as you said, not by the marketing department. It's by individuals who say, oh, I have a nice product. Oh, there has been an interesting project. Oh, we have a nice solution. Let's make a picture. Let's put some words to it, some bullet points, some USPs. And these are most of our posts. So developed by individual, developed by salespeople, by engineers, and not by a marketing department, which, as I said, I'm happy with them. I'm really happy because they do nice pictures, they do graphics, they have good ideas, they make sure the corporate identity is there. But I think the company needs to embrace an approach on LinkedIn, on a social media platform, because it's important that we show how a company's culture is lived. I mean, I can put a nice mission statement on my webpage. I can put it in front of the building or the entrance hall. But I think it's very important to, show that we are actually the company we are, putting in notes, putting in writing. We want to be able to be, touchable. So yes, people are pushed to write a post. Luckily, I had a great supporter, and you mentioned him. It will be a new format called hashtag heating Jack. So be curious what we do with that one, because he really supported me over that journey of the last 1.5 years very much, in terms of continuously helping me to post. So it's grown out of the company, it's grown out of the people, and it's not made up by a great and big marketing department, which we have, and actually which we don't have in the background. I think it's also important to be not that professional, not too professional, but yes, you're right. And we should touch the topic about social media guidelines. These are available in Winkler too, and we make sure that these are kept as much as possible. So we have a approval process also implemented. We make sure that it fits to a certain business to business platform. This is what we have, but it's generated out of the people, out of the salespeople, the engineers.
So from what you say, it appears to me, and this is basically what I always coach the corporate clients, it seems to me that the human voice, yeah, or the executive voice in a corporate is the more important than the corporate voice. So the posts that have a human touch, human relationship to the experts, to the thought leaders of Winkler are more important, and this is what you would advocate, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We are a people company. I mean, I'm not pushing that too much, but we want to be a people company, and we want to be a company who stands, or we want to be employees. I'm an employee too, who stands for the culture of the company. And I think that's important. And sometimes, as you can see in our posts, we don't take ourselves too serious. We like to laugh, and we like to also make fun, sometimes with the products, with the testing of our products. And I think Heating Jack will add a lot to that one too. But we're also a serious company who sells and who really strives for quality products, who really strives for solutions to the market. And as you quite rightly said, we want to be a thought leader in our business, in our niche, definitely. And maybe
Absolutely.
beyond that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're slowly coming to an end. I'm seeing there are some more comments here. We have Alexander says he's from Würzburg. Thanks for answering this. Then Lou is actually answering in German now. Now, Lou, we made this in English for you, and now you start talking in German. That's fine. And then we got Susanne from Köln. She says it's exactly how it's supposed to be. Well said, Björn.
Thank you,
Okay,
Susanne.
cool. Then we got Kate here. Best regards from Heidelberg. Great job and on point, Björn. Thank you, Kate or Kate. Yeah, Kate, I guess, right?
Kate.
Thanks for being our guest here live today. Björn, my other question then is now having the human voice or the executive voice, as they say in the corporate world, in the corporate language. So you would not hold any one of your employers back in posting content on LinkedIn. Is that right?
We won't hold anyone back who wants to post. However, honestly speaking, we have a let's say control function in terms of the management will read and will approve the posts. Reason being, as I mentioned, yes, we don't take ourselves too serious, but we also want to represent a certain quality of the posting and making sure it's right for the business, right for the market. However, as I said, most of the posts I got, or I can say all of the posts I got, there's only small changes. Nothing, we really would like black out or say you can't say that. It's more like be careful what kinds of terms you use, what kind of market brands you use in your posts. So normally we will not hold anyone back to make sure that we represent the company we want to state, but we have let's say a approval process for our content. But we will not hold anyone back on their own profiles for the posts. So for Winkler, the page, yes, we have an approval process. we would be very happy if people come to us and say, look, I intend to post that one, but we are not too restrictive in terms of what content, what product. If somebody is really keen to post a product he has developed, we're really happy. I'm really happy because I'm really continuously looking for new posts. So why should I hold someone back? Because I want people to embrace that tool.
Yeah. So in a sense, you are making sure that it's in line with your social guidelines that you have established
Yes.
at Winkler.
Yes.
But also it gives you the opportunity, to get an exchange with that employee and probably motivate him to do even more of that is what he is proposing. How long does it take, from an employee to approach you with a content idea until it is being posted on LinkedIn? Are we talking days, weeks, or how is it organized in your case?
Maybe Jack can answer that one. It can take only hours or minutes. It sometimes can take also several days. That's an honest answer, because sometimes it's the right time when a post comes. I have a time in my diary to say, okay, I read through, I post it. It also can be sometimes more than 1, 2, 3 days until it's approved and posted. Because posting on the Winkler page is being done by 4 people in 5 people in the company, just to make sure that it's also aligned. And we have as you mentioned, the continuous posting, the continuous interaction with LinkedIn needs to be done. So I try to prevent 2, 3 posts in 1 week and have then the other week no post. We try to at least make sure it's a continuity. So the answer is from minutes to days.
Okay. And the days have basically a practical reason. It's not to let anyone, wonder whether this is the right focus, the right content or not. It is the timing. It is maybe the balancing of the content, yes, and making sure that we have an X amount of content stream every month. So it's a more rather technical process than a process that holds someone back or should hold someone back.
No, we don't want to frustrate people. Yes.
No, of course not. You want to motivate them, and that's cool. And I appreciate this certain amount of control. And I'm glad you've mentioned this, because just the other day, I have this LinkedIn Kennenlernen newsletter now promoted this.
Seen that, yes.
With nearly now 4,000 subscribers, and we have also a LinkedIn newsletter for Winkler. On my last newsletter, I was reminded back to one of my keynotes in Hamburg with at the Converting Summit, converting in sense of production converting. They do coatings of paper and plastics and things like that. And one of the managing directors, a female director, she asked me, well, I would be scared to lose control of what's being posted by my employees. So that is one of the major scares that leadership has on, giving the freedom to their employers to post something on LinkedIn. But as your example shows, there's nothing to be scared about. If you have an agreement with your employers, with your corporate influencers, what's the target of the company? How can they support the target of the company? And corporate influencers are then willing to make content. And if you just overlook that content and give it an okay, then that's fine. That's cool. Just be careful in not overdoing the whole overall post, because if you overdo everything, then the personality becomes probably a problem of that poster, and it is not human anymore. And therefore, I think the control does not get out of touch, right? Would you allow some personality in the posts of your employees? Maybe not on the Winkler page, but on their personal page?
Yes. Why not? Yeah. We want to be that company, and we want to be represented in LinkedIn, and we want to have people participating in that.
Yes. Okay, my final question, Björn, to you now is the following. I've observed that Winkler, as I am an admin of your company, a content admin, in order to restream this nice live also on your site, I'm seeing the figures that are coming up. And one of the figures that is recurring is the incredible weekly, profile visits or profile views of Winkler AG. They are more than my profile visits, actually. And that means you have a very, very high reach and a number of impressions. How do you make sure that you get to these high reaches? What's your explanation to that?
I think we covered a lot about it. I said it's continuity, it's own networking, making sure I generate growth on my profile, making sure to interact with the people, sometimes also making sure to find customers who mention Winkler in their posts. But I think the main reason is continuity, making sure to be continuously working on your profile, making sure you network personally. And this is something, Ilkay, I've learned from you, which is Winkler itself, the page can only grow and can only have the audience if the individuals participate on it. So that needs to be continuously done. Invite people, make sure you generate content which is it's valuable for them. And again, it's continuity. It's not a flu. It comes 3 days, it stays 3 days, it goes 3 days. That won't help. It's continuity and it's work. It's continuous work. The good thing is with LinkedIn, you can do that anywhere. And I don't mention where we all like and post. Just be free to imagine. It's everywhere, and that's the great thing about LinkedIn. It's business to business. It's social, and it combines the interests to stay in touch, stay in contact, and making sure you have the number of touch points with your followers. Absolutely. And that then generates followers.
Yes, it could be a walk in the forest. It could be, bronzing in the sun.
Thank you for getting that touch again back to it.
It could be lying on your towel in the sun. It could be swimming around. It could be at home while you are cleaning up your house. You can engage anywhere. And then Jack says it's good to show your personality in posts. That is absolutely one of the keys to get more views. Absolutely right. And what he says, regular networking is A&O, he says. Jack, thank you for your comments. So we are now coming to an end. Thank you, Björn, for these overall insights into a typical German middle-sized company that utilizes now LinkedIn for future growth, visibility, PR, marketing, and obviously on sales. Thank you for the audience, for all your comments, questions that you have raised during this LinkedIn Live. This LinkedIn Live will be restreamed today in the afternoon on Winkler's page. So stay tuned. Go there at around 3 p.m. You will have the opportunity to watch this in replay. Other than that, of course, you can also watch it on YouTube in the playlist of Winkler and myself. And soon we will be also having this on the Winkler podcast. If you haven't listened to the Winkler podcast yet, our intros and outros are spectacular. Listen to the Winkler podcast. Listen to the Winkler podcast. It is on any major platform available. Like this one will be available within the next 10 days. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have missed this live or tuned in later, go back. The minute we will close here the session, you can watch it in replay. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you, Ilkay, and all the best to the community.
You're welcome.